Joining us now, live on the phone, Governor Scott Walker. Governor, good morning.
Hey, good to meet you, sir. My voice is a little hoarse, but we're going to make it through the weather, and I'm going to make it through my voice this morning.
I always get you when your voice is beat up.
It's crazy. Well, I'm always fighting a good battle, that's why.
Now, Governor, where are you physically right now, if I may ask?
I'm in Tampa. Just spoke to the Wisconsin delegation, took the official photo, talked a little bit to the national press here with Reince Priebus, and we're going to be, even though we're not having floor activities today, we have a busy day of doing different events around Tampa and St. Petersburg area.
How fired up is the Wisconsin delegation, Governor?
If people's heads could pop off, I think they would. They're that jazzed. I mean, we were jazzed to begin with, considering what we accomplished on June 5th. You add to that the fact that Reince Priebus from Wisconsin is the national chairman of the RNC. And, of course, a few weeks ago when Paul Ryan got added to the ticket, I don't think you can make Wisconsin Republicans any happier, but they made it. So people are pumped up and they're excited, not just because of those connections, but because we believe that we can ultimately not just perform well this week, but we believe we can carry Wisconsin for Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan, get Tommy Thompson elected, keep Reed Ribble and Sean Duffy, and get the state Senate majority back as well. So this is a lot of optimism going on down here.
Well, you need to get your voice back because you have a major primetime speech coming up. Now, I know you don't want to tip your hand, but give us a preview to the degree that you can. What do you hope to accomplish? What's your message that you want to relay in that speech?
Well, I think there's no doubt, not just for those of us from Wisconsin, but people across America tuned into what we did in the recall. And we want to draw the parallels between what we faced in Wisconsin and what America faces. I mean, there are some real parallels. Wisconsin had lost more than 100,000 jobs. The unemployment rate was over 9% before we took office. And we took on the tough economic and fiscal crises that we faced. And we've had proven success. And part of our message is going to be talking about how America needs someone to fix things, to turn things around. And that not only has Mitt Romney's got the qualifications and the skill, but in many ways, by picking Paul Ryan to be his running mate, he showed us he's got the courage and the passion, really, to be an exceptional president.
Talking with Governor Scott Walker, I think the way I look at this, at least in part, your mission, Governor Romney's mission, Congressman Ryan's mission, Governor Christie, anyone who speaks is to stay on what this fight's really about, because we have seen now what the strategy is. The strategy is to make this election about everything but what counts, about Bain Capital, about Governor Romney's taxes, and now their goal is going to be to make it about abortion. I think the mission critical for all of you is to stay on what this fight's really about.
I couldn't agree with you more, Jerry. I was on the Sunday morning talk shows yesterday, and one of them they were asking us about polls, about the gender gap, and then she proceeded to ask about abortion. I said, when I talk to voters in Wisconsin, nobody brings that up. When I talk to people who are concerned about where this country is headed, they're concerned about the economy, they're concerned about their kids getting passed on debt that they can't afford to pay, and they're concerned about those issues. Those are issues where Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan have a much, much better plan for the middle class. The middle class in this country is paid largely for the expansion of government. It's about time somebody reins it in, gets this economy going again by embracing the American spirit, the American dream. And that's exactly what you get. And there could not be a starker contrast between this president, who's presided over 42 consecutive months of unemployment above 8%, who's seen major problems with the deficit, who's seen more than $5 trillion with the debt added since he's become president. Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan have a real opportunity to show on the issues that people care about. They've got the better plan.
Talking with Governor Scott Walker, both Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney's speech are seen by many as kind of they're coming out. I know Mitt Romney's been campaigning all these many months. Paul Ryan, in terms of who Paul Ryan as a person is, still a relative unknown to the nation. This is seen as their opportunities here. They keep talking about the relatability factor with Mitt Romney. It's almost, a lot of pressure is being put on these two guys and what they have to accomplish in those speeches.
Well, but I think it's a great challenge, but also a great opportunity. As crazy as it sounds, because you and I and plenty of others have talked about this race, they've talked about these candidates for months now. most Americans, most voters, certainly most of the undecided voters, know very little about Mitt Romney in particular. Certainly outside of Wisconsin, don't know a whole lot about Paul Ryan. I think for Mitt in particular, and for the speeches that Paul gives, that Ian Romney gives, that Chris Christie gives, because each of those will be really highlighted at the end of primetime coverage, they need to point out not just the resume of Mitt Romney, because I think a lot of people understand that. They need to understand why that's relevant, and they need to help people, voters, understand the person that is Mitt Romney. Many ways people don't know, they hear about his father. They don't know that things as simple as the inheritance he got from his father, he gave all away to endow a chair to help people in higher education. They don't know that he really started on his own and built his own roots in business. They don't know the kind of reforms that he's done and the impact it's had on thousands of people having jobs because of that. They don't know those stories, and they certainly don't know the kind of personal anecdotes that Ann Romney can share and the family can share. I think one of the problems that's largely driven by the national Main Street media is that there's this perception, at least, that President Obama is more relatable than Governor Mitt Romney. I don't buy that. I've been around both men before. I think that Mitt Romney is much more personable than the person I've seen who's currently the president. And I think in the end, when I saw him, for example, not long ago in Janesville, sitting down with small business owners, I saw a guy who got it, who could relate to the fears and concerns small business owners and parents had about their employees and about their kids, their grandkids. I saw someone who was passionate. I saw someone who had not just the stature but the courage to be an exceptional president. And I think the more the people tune in this week, the more they're going to see that. But most importantly, Thursday night, they're going to hear that and see that from hopefully the 45th president of the United States, Mitt Romney.
Final question, and then I'll let you rest your voice. Our listeners know it's the tenure that you've had so far as governor. When you look back at when you were fighting the recall and everything else, who would have thought? Just reflect, if you will, how you feel now. You have a key role in this convention. This is Wisconsin's gig. Reince Priebus, you, Paul Ryan. Just, it's been a tough battle. You came through it, and it's, what a difference a year and a half makes.
Well, exactly. And the most exciting part about it is it's not based on personality. It's not a flash in the pan. Even with Reince, who's as a party official of the state in Wisconsin a few years ago, you know that you saw him, you heard him, you saw his efforts helping me and Ron Johnson and Reed Zerbo and everybody else, Sean Duffy, you name it. This was about someone who was committed not just to winning, but to supporting people who were men and women of their word, who would follow through on the promises they made on the campaign trail, who really believed the importance of turning Wisconsin around. He's now doing the same thing nationally. I think the thing that certainly has brought Paul to the point where he's on the ticket, and I think ultimately the reason why we not only won, but why people here are jazzed up about what we did in Wisconsin, is because it's based on substance. It's not because of some speech. It's not because of some commercial or some just notoriety. The notoriety comes from substance. It comes from reform. It comes from being daring and willing to make tough decisions, the decisions that ultimately paid off because they're working in Wisconsin and they can work for America. So for us, that's the most exciting thing, is because our presence, our prominence at this convention isn't just a flash in the pan. It is really a substantive sort of change. We did it years ago when Tommy Thompson was governor, and we changed America when it came to welfare reform. We can do it now again when it comes to any number of reforms that we're pushing that come out of Wisconsin as well. So it's great to be from Wisconsin.
All right, Governor Walker, rest that voice. We look forward to the speech.
Thanks.
As always, great talking to you.
Good talking to you, Jerry. Bye now.
All right, Governor Scott Walker, and I saw him walk by moments ago. Senator Ron Johnson is in the House, and we'll get him as well. And, yeah, a very scratchy voice, Scott Walker. Apparently the Wisconsin delegation very, very fired up, and it was the atmosphere of a Packer game, and he has almost no voice. So I hope he gets that back in time for his big speech. Again, we will get to Senator Ron Johnson coming up. It is 8:55.
things Jerry Bader. JerryBaderShow.com.